Rauschenau cycle, Richter's artistic examination based on photos of the darkest chapter in German history, the Holocaust. Richter had plenty of time to develop as an artist. The pre-digital age was far less fast-paced than the 21st century. He had to give up the large-format squeegee paintings due to dwindling strength, but he still paints small formats to this day.
Richter's isn't the only work fetching sky-high prices. The art market is dominated by big money. And some of the art going under the hammer at the major auction houses doesn't even have a tangible form. To some, non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, are a fad, but to others, they're the future.
One person who knows his way around this new world of NFTs is German digital artist Manuel Rosner. He expanded the exhibition to include a virtual reality of his own creation. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is an NFT?
So, how do I start? For NFTs, you have to understand the blockchain. And that's a lot of computers that store the same kind of information. And because there are so many, you can't just go there and change some information because the others will notice.
Why is this so revolutionary? Because everything can be certified with it. It's the digitized form of an asset. This wasn't possible before. Digital art and files could be copied. The term NFT comes from the world of cryptocurrencies, and that's where many new art collectors come from. They trade in cryptocurrency and have become wealthy in digital spaces. For the art market, this technology is a revolution. Prices formerly secret are now posted publicly on websites, as well as who bought what and when.
To really capture the dynamics and the scale of all the digital possibilities, I think this medium is really the right one. And being able to interact with collectors in this way is something new and something very powerful and helpful for digital artists, of course.
Artists like Manuel Rosner are suddenly earning money with their digital art. He's now a prime mover on the German crypto art market and has created his own museum for his NFT collection. Virtually, of course. His works can be seen in international exhibitions. Trading NFTs has been a global phenomenon for around 3 years. Despite the
Every Monday evening, we take you back where the action happened live. We'll let you know what you missed, even if you were present.
And our goal is to continue supporting our own.
From the latest celebrity buzz,
fashion,
music,
and all manner of youth talents,
the Grapevine cameras rove all week to bring you the latest in the enormous entertainment scene.
Watch Grapevine every Monday at 10 p.m. and the rerun on Tuesday at 2 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1, baby.
Engage us on Facebook and Twitter, #Grapevine on KBC. Let us know what is happening in your area code, because you know what they say, if you did not see it on Grapevine,
then it most probably never happened. Bah!
Good afternoon. You are in time for the Lunchtime News. A very warm welcome to the broadcast. My name is Irene Mchuma Odim. On sign language interpretation, we have Lensa Odingo. It is the 17th day in the month of July 2023. We have news making headlines not only locally but also across the borders. Let's interact on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. Our top focus this afternoon, political parties last committee is calling for a national dialogue to end the current political impasse between the government and opposition leaders. The committee is warning the grandstanding is recipe for anarchy if unchecked. And as Abdi Aziz Hashim reports, the committee has urged police officers to exercise restraints while handling protesters.
With the political temperatures high in the country, calls for peace and dialogue are gaining momentum among stakeholders who are now proposing a national conversation to end the current political stalemate.
We find ourselves confronted with a crisis that threatens our very existence as a nation. Each and every Kenyan must understand that the solution to this situation lies not in military or grandiose grandstanding, but in dialogue.
So it is incumbent upon the two leaders to help this nation heal. PPLC is ready to help do that because the 90 political parties, fully registered political parties, are concerned at what is happening today.
Led by the National Chairman Evans Misati, the committee has urged the National Police Service to exercise restraint while handling protesters.
It's essential that law enforcement agencies exercise restraint and adhere to proper protocol to ensure that safety of public during the protests. On the other hand, it is paramount for the protesters to adhere to the bounds of the law as provided.
Kuna tumaini kwa nchi hii tukija sisi wote pamoja kama taifa. Tusiwache mjadala huwe katikati ya watu wawili. Wacha mjadala huwe katikati ya Kenya wote.
PPLC further states that in matters of the reconstitution of IBC, the government ought to implement the Kriegler report that recommended commissioners be appointed on a timely basis to avoid a repeat of the past elections that were marred by chaos and controversy. Abdiaziz Hashim for Lunchtime News.
And a section of political leaders allied to the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition are currently holding a press conference in the county of Nairobi. Let's cross over and listen in.
Funds, you know. People eat food. And people don't eat in faces. Yes, people eat today. Okay? And every day. So don't tell Kenyans about Hustler Fund at its next phase. Just tell Kenyans how food will be affordable now, today. And they will leave the streets. Otherwise, if you don't do that, be ready.
A section of leaders allied to Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition holding a press conference here in the county of Nairobi. My colleague John Jacob Kuria is on that bit. Be sure to catch up with him in our subsequent bulletins. To other news, information, communication and the digital economy cabinet secretary Eliud Owalo says government services will be available online before the end of the year. Speaking during the signing of a memorandum of understanding with the United Nations Development Programme, Owalo said the ministry is working hard to ensure all Kenyans can access government services on a click of a button.
The Information, Communication and Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary Eliud Owalo says the MOU with UNDP will help the government to drive digital transformation agenda.
This collaborative initiative is well aligned to our national development policy framework, our master plan. And we, in our view, through this partnership, will go a step further towards realization of turning Kenya into a digital economy.
He further said the partnership will also realize the digital economy strategy by enhancing skills within the public sector.
Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
The CS said his ministry will continue partnering with diplomatic missions and other non-governmental organizations to ensure Kenya becomes a digital hub.
But in pursuit of our digitalization agenda, we look forward to stakeholder alliances and partnership. This partnership with UNDP is one of them. We look forward to more and more partnerships with integral stakeholders so that we can walk this journey together.
He said the Kenya Kwanza government is focused on digitizing all government services before the end of the year to improve service delivery.
And let me state unequivocally that our digitalization agenda has got support from the highest echelons of government, led by none other than the President himself. He is our greatest agent in spreading the gospel of digitalization. So there is no going back. We have got commitment at all levels of government.
Engineer John Tanui, the Principal Secretary Information, Communication and Digital Economy, who attended the event, said Kenya has a strong talent pool and the partnership will go a long way in creating digital jobs.
We are looking at how to unlock opportunities for our great Kenyan talent to access the opportunities across the world. The challenges you have is some of the strengths we have. We have a very strong talent pool and we are providing connectivity so that not only can they serve Kenya but serve the global market.
UNDP Regional Director for Africa, Hauna Ezakonwa, hailed the partnership, saying poor governance has greatly contributed to many countries in Africa remaining poor.
We need development to be accelerated and we need development to go to scale. And it's really not possible to achieve all of these four things without digital transformation. And this is why we are involved.
The signing of a memorandum of understanding between the Ministry of Information, Communication and Digital Economy and the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, indeed is a game changer in turning Kenya into a digital economy. Timothy Kipnusu for Lunchtime News.
Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, has summoned Kitui East Member of Parliament Nimrod Mbai to shed light over the incident where a Kenya Power and Lighting Company employee was assaulted in Kitengela. Mbai, who honored EACC's summons, defended himself and denied the alleged accusations. His case is yet to be determined by the court in Kajiado.
Because there was a complaint against me on an assault issue with some guy working with Kenya Power.
On Monday, Kitui East Member of Parliament Nimrod Mbai was at the Integrity Center accompanied by his lawyer. The Member of Parliament was summoned by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission EACC over an incident where he allegedly assaulted a Kenya Power and Lighting Company KPLC employee in Kitengela, Kajiado County.
And I was summoned, that is to be sincere with what happened, by the EACC of an incident which happened a week ago. So they felt that there is some things they wanted to confirm about my conduct and the rest. So that's why I'm here.
The Member of Parliament denied the alleged accusation.
No, I never assaulted anyone. Yeah. Do I look like assaulting anybody? I'm a pastor. Yeah, a renowned pastor, actually. Sure. Given another opportunity, I'll handle it the same way. That's me, because I can't change. It's Nimrod.
So, the MP, who is out on bond, awaits a determination by a Kajiado court.
Laikipia County leaders have vowed to table a motion in Parliament for the government to compensate families of National Police Reservists attacked by bandits in the region. This comes following the killing of 2 officers in a fresh attack in the county.
Laikipia County Women Representative Jane Kagiri was in Kongoni village where she pledged to sponsor a motion in Parliament to compel the government to compensate families of the dead or injured NPR officers due to banditry attacks.
Ili pia wao waweze kusaidika juu mzee wa nyumba yao akiondoka, nani ameachwa kuwahudumia.
She also called on the government to provide safety and protective gear to the NPR officers who work under very poor conditions.
Kwa hivyo ni lazima tupiganie watu wetu wapewe security uniform, ni lazima tupiganie barabara zetu ziendelee kutengenezwa ili hata hawa majambazi wakikuja askari wanaweza kuwafuata haraka. Ni lazima waongezewe warudi vile walikuwa 800 juu wakiwa wengi pia wataweza kupigana na hao majambazi.
Laikipia Senator John Kinyua called on the government to establish a compensation program to caution families whose loved ones are killed in the many raids committed by the armed attackers.
Tungetaka serikali iwe na mikakati maalum ya kuweza kufidia watu ambao wako katika NPR.
The leaders also called on the Interior Cabinet Secretary Kitui Kindiki to visit the region and address security concerns that have led to the death of residents.
Waziri wa usalama Mheshimiwa Kindiki, askari wetu wote wa NPR wakuwe wakipewa fidia, si NHIF peke yake.
John Kahiru for Lunchtime News.
The Anglican Church of Kenya, Mount Kenya South Chapter, has introduced an initiative to curb illicit brew and drug abuse among the youth in the region. The church, in partnership with the county government of Kiambu, has introduced aside Mudhure market shades for the Kanisa Madukani initiative to help addicts benefit from the rehabilitative services through workshops. Mount Kenya South ACK Bishop Charles Muturi urged Kiambu County government to source funds to help empower the victims economically after rehabilitation.
Wanatakiwa wachukue jukumu la kupigana na pombe na madawa ya kulevya ni kanisa. Kwa nini? Kwa sababu kanisa inapigana na dhambi. Na pombe ni dhambi. Dawa za kulevya ni dhambi.
Kanisa madukani. Mahali tunawakuta, tunawahubiria hapo, tunawapatia chakula pale, alafu tunaambia mambo ya kubadilika.
Tulikuwa walevi, sasa hatukuangi walevi, tumerudishwa kanisani, tumeshikiliwa na makanisa, wazazi wametushikilia. Sasa hii tumereform, hata kuoga hatukuwa tunaoga. Sasa kuna wengine walikuwa hawanyolewi wakanyolewa.
Kama mimi ukiniangalia hivi, nimenyoa rasta mrefu sana. Juu ya kuwa saa hii mimi nimekubali kureform na kuwa mtu ambaye anaweza aminika kwa kazi yoyote ama mahali popote.
Televangelist Gilbert Dare of the alleged miracle baby scandal has been set free. Dare was acquitted by a Nairobi court after prosecution failed to prove any case against him.
These were the scenes outside Milimani Law Courts. Jubilation after Bishop Gilbert Dare, who rose to the limelight through the alleged miracle baby's capabilities, was set free.
And I want to thank God for the British government who gave me protection for 12 years. And they said I have no case to answer based on the evidence given to them to extradite me to come to Kenya to answer the Trump charges which was put against me.
Dare, who was charged with 5 counts of stealing 5 children, all aged below 14 years between the year 2002 and 2004, had his case dropped. While defending himself from the allegation in court on March 2023, the preacher, who was on August 4th, 2017 deported to Kenya from the UK to face child theft charges, denied all the 5 counts. Milimani's senior principal magistrate Robinson Ondieki said the prosecution had failed to link Dare to the accusations leveled against him, and hence he was set free.
Today, the court has cleared him of all the counts, and that he's a free man.
Dare has been battling the child theft for almost 2 decades now and says he has forgiven all his tormentors. For Lunchtime News, I'm Alvin Kaunda.
Tussle is brewing over a prime piece of land in Malindi, pitting a businessman and one other family. The businessman is accusing the family of hiring goons to demolish a perimeter wall he had set up around the property at a cost of 2.5 million shillings. Japheth Charo alias Janja claims this is the third time the wall has been brought down on the parcel of land located in Gala area, Malindi town, causing him losses. He maintains he won the legal battle but continues to suffer losses. He now is appealing to the government to intervene.
Na si mtu unaenda kutaka ule ukweli vile inavyotakikana, lakini yeye hakufanya hivyo. Alikuja vunja mara tatu. Mara ya kwanza akarudi tena hapo, sisi tumejenga na usiku mchana pia akaja akavunja tena na tukajenga tena hivyo hivyo, lakini ripoti pia tunazipiga polisi, lakini hatuoni mafanikio.
Hii mali ni yetu na tulienda kotini na hawa jamaa, na tukienda kotini tunawaangusha, lakini ni kwa nini wanakuja wanatufanyia unyama? Huu ni unyama, hii sio sawa.
Na wana haki gani ama walichukua karatasi yote ama court order ipi mpaka wakuja wakavunja hii? Hiyo ni kitu ambacho mimi yani kitu ambacho nimeona hii kitu ni kama mimi ndo nimetumia hii pesa yani. Uelewa? Yani tumetumia zaidi ya mamilioni na mamilioni.
A widow from Tinganga village in Kiambu County is seeking justice after she was allegedly rendered homeless months after the death of her spouse. Miriam Magdalene Kinyoro is accusing her in-laws of denying her an opportunity to develop the land where her husband is buried, claiming that her late husband never introduced her to them. According to human rights activist Apollo Kamau, the woman, who is a Tanzanian national, is yet to receive assistance despite visiting government offices. He is now calling on authorities to expedite her case for her to get justice.
Mimi niliolewa Tanzania, nikaletwa Kenya. Nikileta Kenya, sijaletwa huko Kiambu, nililetwa Kigambura, sehemu ya Kikuyu. Baada ya kukaa kama miaka 2 hivi, nikaletwa hapa, nikaoneshwa msitu na nikaambiwa hii shamba ni yetu. Lakini ni yetu hivi, ikiwa yetu, hata mimi mwenyewe nimeondolewa huku na hana Wanjiku Njoroge.
Kwa hivyo mimi ningeomba nchi hii ama Minister for Lands ama PS Mr. Kolil wasaidie huyu mama, kwa sababu amesumbuka sana, na ni kwa sababu ati ametoka nchi jirani, na mimi najua bibi hakuna mahali ambaye hauwezi toa bibi. Awe ni Mluo, awe ni Mtanzania, awe ni Mulanda, ama ni Muganda, wote ni bibi. Na mimi nasumbuka na mimi nasikia sana nikisumbuka ikiwa nimeona yeye ananyang'anywa mali yake kwa sababu yeye atisio Mkenya.
Mariam alikuwa ameoleka kwa baba yetu, na alikuwa amefanya harusi hapa Kenya na wengine walifanya huko Tanzania, na hiyo mambo tumedhibitisha kwamba hiyo ndio bibi ya baba yetu, na tayari wameshapata watoto wawili.
Bwana wangu,
bwana yangu, baba yangu. Yes.
Mary Wanyonyi has vowed to serve Kenyans as she took out of office as the chair of the Commission of Revenue Allocation. Wanyonyi, who was sworn into office by Chief Justice Martha Koome, was urged to serve Kenyans diligently and uphold the rule of law. Wanyonyi takes over the mantle from Jen Kiringai, whose tenure in office lapsed. The Commission on Revenue Allocation is a constitutional body tasked with making recommendations on the basis of equitable sharing of revenue between the national and county governments.
Mary A.C. Wanyonyi, having been appointed the chairperson of the Commission on Revenue Allocation.
Therefore, I urge you and the commissioners of CLA to always remember that, and as you undertake your mandate, the people of Kenya are the true owners of these resources. You have been chosen to ensure that the resources of Kenyans are allocated with the utmost transparency, equity, and prudence. And this is in accordance with the dictates of our Constitution.
I commit to upholding the independence of the Commission and to execute my functions in a transparent, accountable, and impartial manner. I pledge to work closely with all stakeholders to ensure that the Commission achieves its mandate. I assure you that the law will be my guiding principle and that no Kenyan will be left behind. as envisaged in the vision of the Commission on Revenue Allocation.
Eastleigh Estate is set to undergo a facelift following the launch of a beautification exercise to improve the look of the estate that is renowned as a business hub. Nairobi Chief Environment Officer Revenue Nyanchoka said Nairobi County government has deployed a team from the Office of the Inspectorate to ensure sustainability of the beautification program, which will include planting of trees and flowers. Additionally, business owners have been urged to plant trees and grow grass around their premises to enhance the look and increase vegetation cover.
Na hii kazi sio Eastleigh peke yake, ni vile kwa leo tunaifanya hapa na ilikuwa project ya Eastleigh, but hata ukienda kwa sub counties zingine pia kuna hizo beautification exercises ambazo zinafanywa ili tuweze kupatia watu wa Nairobi mahali pasafi pa kuishi. But pia watu wa Nairobi wanafaa kujua kwamba ni jukumu lao pia kutia usafi.
Hii barabara kuna manyumba on both sides. Hawa wamejitolea na watakuwa wakimaga maji pamoja na kuhakikisha ya kwamba 10 meters kutoka nyumba yako ile chafu itamagwa, wewe ndio utakuwa responsible, na tunatarajia pia waweke dustbins, ndio watu ambao wanafanya biashara wakitupa makaratasi, hiyo dustbins inawekwa, inakuja inachukuliwa.
A family in Ibeno Ward, Kisii Central Sub-County, is in anguish after their daughter, a student at St. Charles Luanga Ichuni Girls, went missing from the school premises. The school administration is alleged to have failed to furnish the family with any information since her disappearance 1 week ago. The family has now petitioned the Education Ministry and security agencies to help them find their daughter and help them bring her back home.
The mysterious disappearance of Purity Nyaboke Oncheri from the school compound on July 9, 2023 has plunged her family into a state of uncertainty. Purity's mother, Judy Mora, received a phone call from the school principal informing the father to report to the school without disclosing the reason. It was after arriving at the school compound that her daughter's disappearance was revealed to her by the school principal.
Nikawambia wall ya Ichuni ni refu sana. Mtoto msichana haezi ruka hiyo wall. Labda kijana na watchmen, they are there, CCTV every corner, in class, in dormitory. So wangefungua hata CCTV wao wenyewe wajue huyu mtoto alipitia wapi, na maybe wangejua fira alitoka kwa compound ya shule.
The student's uncle John Nyairo commended the sub-county police officers for swift action after they recorded a statement at the office and they are assuring to pursue the matter to conclusion. Brian Onsom, reporting for Lunchtime News.
Brian Karuga's life is nothing short of a miracle. After a transplant on one of his kidneys failed, his family lost hope. But his mother, Ruth Njeri, was so determined to ensure her son gets well. Her efforts to seek treatment in India were met with more devastating news after Brian was diagnosed with a serious liver disease. Our reporter Marie Ambo shares Brian's story as narrated by his mother, Ruth Njeri.
In 2014, Brian's health was failing. After several tests, he was diagnosed with kidney failure.
But the doctor was like, your son, HB is at 3 instead of the 12, the normal 12. Your son, calcium is 0. By then he had become so lazy, walking was an issue. For him even to put on shoes, he could just sit down and put on his school shoes.
Several dialysis sessions only seemed to worsen his health, and so the family opted for a kidney transplant. Finding a donor was not easy, but luckily, Brian's father was a match.
It's like he's a newborn. He's really eating very well. He looks very strong. Because now when he had kidney failure, he was restricted to fruits. He was restricted to drinking water.
But just as Brian's health was improving, the family was once again plunged into another health crisis. His new kidney was failing.
I cried so much. I could not believe it.
Through social media, the family sent out an appeal for a kidney donor as none of his family members was eligible. A total stranger, Paul, heeded the call, and with the help of the church and the family members, Ruth was able to raise 4 million shillings to take her son and the new donor to India for the life-saving surgery. However, doctors in India found another life-threatening condition that needed fixing if the kidney transplant was to be successful.
Now, they realized he had a condition that was called primary hyperoxaluria, which is a liver condition. They also told us that the liver condition he had been born with. That's why his native kidneys failed. That is why his transplanted kidney is failing.
Another complication was that the laws in India forbid organ donation from someone who is not related to the recipient.
As a family, we didn't have anyone else to donate. They told me they have a board in the hospital which would sit down and decide whether they will allow this other donor maybe to donate a part of his liver to my son. They explained to me that for kidney it has to be basically a family member because there's more rejection.
And back at home, the search for a donor began once again. Brian's uncle, that is Anthony Karuga, Ruth's younger brother, was a match. He flew to India for further tests, only to be found to be unfit as a donor. He had a more life-threatening disease, and so the focus shifts from saving Brian's life to that of the uncle.
That is when now they find he has a growth in his lungs. And now they even explained to me that whatever he's suffering from is very critical, that he can just sleep one day and just not wake up.
His uncle's surgery was a success, and he was able to donate his kidney while Paul donated his liver. The twin surgeries on Brian took close to 24 hours as they had to be done simultaneously.
There's that rate, you're not so sure what may happen in theatre. And now you have 3 people in there.
It has been more than 6 years since Brian's surgery, and his kidney and liver are functioning well. He went back to school and is now pursuing a course in nursing.
Because of whatever he went through, he really wanted to one day to become a doctor so that he can reach out to people just like the way the doctors helped him.
His mother, through Rujo's Tender Care, is involved in helping other parents and patients to access at ease medical facilities and doctors in India.
We are able to explain to them what they need to do, the procedure they need to do in order for them to go to India.
Maria Ambo reporting for KBC, Channel 1.
All right, in other news, a section of leaders allied to the Kenya Kwanza want Raila Odinga held responsible for any distraction during protests. Led by Senator William Chiptumo, the leaders have called on the president to act tough, saying if unchecked, the demonstration could plunge the country into chaos. This comes as Nairobi Archdiocese Archbishop Philip Anyolo says that religious leaders are ready to mediate between the president and the opposition chief.
Speaking during a church service at Kaptere, Baringo North, the leaders said Raila should be held accountable for planning and causing demonstrations that have led to loss of lives and destruction of property.
This country belongs to all of us. Kenya hii ni ya sisi wote. Raila Odinga na watu yake, William Ruto anaandika walimu ya Kenya yote, analeta pesa ya CDF ya Kenya yote, anaachiri community health workers ya Kenya yote, anaachiri pesa ya hustlers inapeanwa kwa Kenya yote, barabara inapeanwa kwa Kenya yote.
Meanwhile, church leaders have expressed concerns over the growing rift between the president and the opposition chief, noting it is courting political intolerance between their supporters.
If the two will agree, we are always available. We can initiate, but also it depends on the two and other opposing parties.
Meanwhile, Busia County Security Committee has issued a 7-day ultimatum to youth of an outlawed group, saying they are causing mayhem in the region.
We are telling them to surrender. We are telling them to surrender even the goods they stole and stop their criminal behavior, their criminal activities, and surrender to the police.
And the Kikuyu elders from Kiama in Kiambu County have added their voice in the planned Wednesday demonstrations.
Vijana yetu wanataka ajira. Hiyo ndio inawasumbua. Vijana wetu si watu wabaya, ni watu wazuri. Lakini unajua kijana yeyote akikosa pesa, akose ajira, anaweza kupelekwa njia mbaya.
Finally, Lugari Member of Parliament Nabii Nabwera has called on the Directorate of Criminal Investigations DCI to arrest and investigate the Minister of Trade Moses Kuria following his sentiments on Twitter.
It is a pity kwamba kuna DCI ambaye hajashika Kuria. Kuria should have gone to write a statement because anaweza leta mtaharuki katika nchi ambayo iko na amani.
Glad you're watching the Lunchtime News. We are taking a breather. When we come back, we'll be telling you more, including business and sports. And also, KTDA has a new chair. Find out who it is. Stay with us.
Candace, what's that?
I brought you a small bonus.
Bonus for what?
You got us 299 family dinners, 64 kisses on the cheek, 12 road trips to see grandma, 42 jokes from daddy, 49 laughs from mommy.
In over 60 years of dealing with numbers, we've learned that the numbers that matter the most to you are the ones that matter the most to us. NCBA Bank. Go for it.
From this, and there are so many.
What is going on here, Amparo? What are you doing with this peasant?
Can you please leave and don't waste my time? Put that away. Don't do it. I'm begging you. I beg you, don't kill me. Don't do it.
It just turned blue.
My father is being poisoned through his toothpaste.
What else do you want me to do so you'll accept that I didn't deceive you? I want you to know that I can't live without you. I can't imagine life without you.
Las bandidas.
Glad you're watching the Lunchtime News. Welcome back. Time for business news. The moratorium on mining licenses will soon be lifted to drive investments in the extractives industry. Investments Principal Secretary Abubakar Hassan says the government is keen on positioning Kenya as a strategic mining investment destination by drafting business-friendly policies.
Our nation's mineral wealth is vast and diverse, offering immense possibility for economic development, job creation, and sustainable growth. As we gather here, it is my firm belief that together we can unlock the full potential of this sector and establish Kenya as a global mining investment destination.
We are here to have insightful discussions, to exchange knowledge, but most importantly is to forge partnerships that will allow us to shape the future of the mining sector in Kenya.
One of the things that really needs to happen is that whatever comes out of mining needs to develop mining further, because we have a great opportunity. And having had this, the aerial survey done in the country, we now have at least a stock of what it is that we have in the country.
Savings and credit cooperative organizations have been urged to seek alternative ways of raising revenue following an increase in number of loan defaults. Financial players in the sector have identified harsh economic times as the major contributing factor to the defaulting.
Harsh economic times witness in the country the tightening of domestic macroeconomic policies and challenging the global financial conditions significantly hurt domestic economic activity in Kenya, according to a report by World Bank in May this year. The situation has seen financial institutions, including digital money lenders, experience a spike in loan defaults.
In terms of loan default has gone up whenever we experience hard times. Remember, we had COVID, where many people lost jobs. And when you lose a job, then basically it means you have no income.
To this,
Why is it that
Financial experts who converge in Naivasha for the CIC Insurance Group Cooperative Summit are calling on SACCOs to seek alternative ways of collecting revenue.
When the economy is not doing well, then it means that the shilling getting to the customer's pocket is got many competing needs, and therefore there will definitely be some challenge.
But we are also learning that we need to create more value for our customers. We need to move from the fact that they can only survive with salaries. So we also want to create value and show them there are other ways you can get income and be able to service your loans.
The players in the sector have also identified the need for innovation to drive growth.
Have a mind shift on the value proposition for our customers. We focus more on innovation, and we also change the way we do our things.
The lenders are, however, calling on the government to revise the Finance Act, which has impacted repayment of loans owing to the high cost of living. Frederick Mwoki for Lunchtime News.
Enos Njeru is the new chair of the Kenya Tea Development Agency following the ouster of the David Ichoho. A statement by the agency says Njeru takes office today, ending days of speculation on the status of the former chair. Njeru has been a KTDA Holdings board member since July 2021, representing farmers from KTDA Zone 6, which comprises factories in Embu County. The appointment of Njeru comes despite a High Court order issued last week suspending the firing of Ichoho, pending the determination of a case he filed challenging his removal.
In the last 2 months, the Kenya Tea Development Agency has been rocked by a vicious boardroom tiff, splitting the board of the tea agency right down in the middle. This has seen the creation of 2 factions within the board, one led by the ousted chair David Ichoho and the other one led by dissatisfied board members. Ichoho was appointed the chair in 2021 following the ouster of long-serving chair Peter Kanyagu after the recommendations of the Tea Subsector Reforms Committee. Earlier this month, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua told a tea conference in Kericho that the government is wary of the ongoing management tussles at the Tea Farmers Agency and vowed to institute the necessary changes to improve the management of the agency. A statement by the KTDA on Monday, July 17th says Enos Njeru has been appointed to replace David Ichoho, who resigned on Tuesday, July 11th, 2023. A statement from the new chair says once a new board has been fully reconstituted, it will champion a comprehensive tea reforms agenda by adapting to the changing environment to remain competitive and sustainable. Njeru is a certified public accountant with over 15 years of experience in finance management. He will be in charge of the agency for a period of 3 years. KTDA is owned by over 600,000 smallholder tea farmers in the country and control more than 80% of Kenya's tea production.
Across the borders, Nigerians are expecting the electricity regulator, the Natural Environment Research Council, to sanction the planned jump in power tariff from August 1st as distribution companies seek to align their charges for power with inflation and other elements, including the recent adjustment in the foreign exchange rate. Here now are the details on that story and other African business stories.
Nigerian interest rates, distribution costs, transmission costs and generation costs all spread over a certain amount of electrical energy expected to be received during the tariff period measured in megawatts per hour. Analysts have suggested that the tariff could rise by as much as 40% next month. Policymakers and regulators have been urged to focus on how to make the cost of electricity supply not only more efficient, but also more abundant and more economical. Nigerians are asking the federal government not to end the subsidies or increase electricity tariffs. Meanwhile, the United Nations has stated that the implementation of climate action requires massive financing, more cooperation in technological fields, and strengthening domestic action at the state level. UN Special Envoy Mahmoud Mohiuddin confirmed the importance of developed countries fulfilling their commitments to finance climate action, for most of which is $100 billion pledged at the climate conference in Copenhagen in 2009 to annually finance climate action in developing countries. He stressed the need to reduce dependence on debt as a method to finance climate and development action. Finally, MTN has been named the strongest mobile service in South Africa, according to the 2023 Mobile Voice and Network Quality Report. The report is based on a South African mobile network quality test conducted between 20th March and 24th April. The project used Keysight's network testing platform Nemo to test a range of voice network quality variables. MTN led by 66.3%, Vodacom at 64.8%, Cell C at 54%, and Telkom at 48.8%. The test took place across all of South Africa's major cities and metros.
Welcome to Channel 1 Sports News. Carlos Alcaraz won the Wimbledon men's singles title for the first time by ending Novak Djokovic's recent dominance with a 1-6, 7-6, 6-1, 3-6, 6-4 stunning victory.
In 1976,
seven-time Ballon d'Or winner Lionel Messi was unveiled to a sold-out crowd of cheering Inter Miami fans last night. Meanwhile, Inter Milan goalkeeper Andre Onana is set to travel to the United Kingdom for medical tests and contract signing at Manchester United.
A sold-out crowd of about 20,000 waited through downpours and lightning to see seven-time Ballon d'Or winner Lionel Messi given a number 10 shirt at his new club, Inter Miami. The World Cup winning Argentina forward joins the Major League Soccer club on a deal until the end of 2025. He will be reunited with defensive midfielder Sergio Busquets, with whom he played at Barcelona, who has also signed for Miami until 2025. Busquets, too, was formally unveiled during Sunday night's event. Meanwhile, Manchester United are close to completing the deal to sign goalkeeper Andre Onana from Inter Milan as they make their second signing of the summer after Mason Mount's transfer. Onana is set to travel to Manchester to sign a 5-year contract after receiving assurances from United coach Ten Hag that the deal was on track to being completed. Ten Hag has prioritized signing a goalkeeper following the departure of David De Gea. In other news, Juan Cuadrado will join Inter Milan on a 1-year deal with medical tests scheduled to take place in the next few days. The 35-year-old winger is destined to leave Juventus after his contract expired at the end of last season.
All right, one of the most interesting pieces. Zimbabwe is one of the top-ranked cricket nations in Africa and recently hosted the World Cup qualifiers that paved the way for the Zimbabwe Afro T10 Championships next week. But did you know where cricket in Zimbabwe started? Have you heard of the mighty Takashinga Sports Club? Our reporter Daniel Mwendwa toured the mighty Takashinga Sports Club and compiled this report.
7 a.m. in the morning. KBC Channel 1 team made its entry into the club. A warm welcome by cricket director and former cricket player Hamilton Masakadza. The club was established in 1990 when Givamo Makoni and Stephen Magogo decided they wanted to start a cricket club. The two looked for a place to call home, and after a long search, Churchill High School offered their facilities. Part of the arrangement was that the club would be called Old Wistonians, but in 2001, the name was changed from Old Wistonians to Takashinga to identify themselves with the community.
As a budding cricketer, you need somewhere to grow, and I think that's pretty much the same for every sport in general. You need somewhere where you can grow, somewhere where you can establish yourself. So that's what Takashinga gave us. It gave us the transition from maybe junior cricket into senior level cricket.
Takashinga basically means you own it. It was because we had gone through a lot, trying to, that one club that was proud to be black, and we needed a name that came from deep inside so that we would own something as black people.
Hamilton also stated some of the challenges the club faced then and how he ended up being a cricket player.
When Zimbabwe Cricket came forward and introduced the game of cricket, they basically introduced it in a physical education lesson. My then coach, who I went through all the levels from junior level, he coached me.
The rise of Zimbabwe cricket up to date is geared up by the blend between fans and players, as president of Cricket Zimbabwe, Tavigo Muhlani, stated.
Neutral fans, they were there in the stands, supporting, singing and dancing. So they've been an integral part and the most important part of the game.
Cricket in Zimbabwe suffered a crisis that lasted from 2003 to 2011, where player withdrawals such as the Black Armband protest by Andy Flower and Andrew Longa, along with a mass loss of players in 2004 due to a general strike, resulted in very poor performance by the national team.
It was a little bit difficult after all the senior players left, and the board just made the which I believe was a correct decision, to just step back from Test cricket for a little bit and to come back when all the young guys that had come in were a little bit more ready.
I think you guys have been really brilliant in rallying behind us. I think you have really brought a lot of energy to us. At times, even if you don't know it's happening, but thank you all for your support.
Presently, Zimbabwe is in the period of rebuilding itself as a domestic structure was restructured in 2009.
We need Test cricket for us to give proper cricketers. We need Test cricket, and for associate members, like Kenya. That means in their domestic structure, there must be 4-day games. The longer version, 3-4-day games must be there.
It is fun. It's our sport, especially Africans. There's so much raw talent in Africa that is just sitting idle. Get out there, get involved.
The story of Takashinga Sports Club is not just a story, but an awareness to the Kenya Cricket Federation to invest more in grassroots sports to nurture young and growing talents. Reporting for KBC Channel 1 Sports from Takashinga in Zimbabwe, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
And on that sporting note, we have come to the end of Channel 1 Lunchtime News. For more details, we'll just add items and many more. Do log on to www.kbc.co.ke. My name is Irene Mchuma Odem, but before I leave, I will leave you with this week's episode of My Culture. On sign language interpretation, we have Lensa Odingo. Enjoy this week's episode, My Culture.
Westlands, Nairobi County. A group of artists are holed up in a modern studio to document part of Kenya's diverse music. Nairobi is part of 8 regions including Central, Coast, Eastern, Northeastern, Nyanza, Rift Valley and Western Kenya, where different artists are documenting the musical diversity across the country.
What we are doing, and we are isolating the different sounds, If it's a jingle, a leg rattle that is usually tied at the leg, that leg rattle is recorded as a separate item, And they also recorded in format of loops, so it's actually short extracts which are repeated in a repetitive manner, yeah. And the way all these sounds are recorded is that they, irrespective of which sound it is from that one region.
In Nairobi, the artists representing the blend of cultures document and showcase the contemporary development of Kenyan musical identity and feature popular music genres and instruments.
These musicians are composing on site, these loops, and the sound engineers and sound designer who are working with them are actually producing new music that will sound like Nairobi. So that was also another challenge. What is Nairobi sound, and how do we make the sound of Nairobi? Well, we couldn't absolutely encompass everything and anything there is, but we did a bit of old school Nairobi sounds like, benga and some rumba. Then we did a bit of Afrofusion.
Nairobi has influences from pre-colonial times, when the word Nairobi meant a place of cool waters, and then throughout the colonial period when the Western musicians would come and meet with the Kariako and they would exchange music and they would give them instruments. So we have like guitar sounds that was started by people like Dio Misiani, Fadhili Williams, which is what people call benga now, the Malaika, Fundikonde style. And then of course it transcends from that period into funk, where the Kelly Browns and their shanties mixed it up in the 80s. And then the 90s we introduced hip-hop with Hardstone.
For every region, a studio is set up to bring the project into fruition. In Coast region, the artists armed with a range of instruments including drums, stringed items, among others depict Swahili music, which has a mix of African, Arabic and Indian influences dubbed Taarab. In the Rift Valley region, adorned in traditional regalia, the artists from the Pokot community showcase and document sounds, melodies of their traditional music. In central Kenya, various artists carry with them various musical instruments, including a type of a rattle, kigamba, an accordion, kinanda, among others. Musical styles and instruments are then recorded. This is replicated across the 8 regions. The artists document, enlighten on cultural beliefs behind the practice of traditional music and emphasize on the unique creativity and contribution. Spearheaded by the Bomas of Kenya in conjunction with Libido Music AB, the project aims at preserving and showcasing Kenya's cultural heritage through digitized music recordings. The final exhibit of the sample bar, which is set to be launched in October at the Bomas of Kenya, will be a fun way of exploring Kenyan traditional music, an effective tool for teachers to demonstrate to students Kenya's musical heritage, and for music professionals to rediscover the unique traditional sounds of Kenya.
This is in our language, in how we speak, and in our traditional instruments. So if you could emulate pick out, if you're a guitar player, pick out what Natiti does and try and put it into your playing. You just immediately sound different from.
Have this digital archive, you know, in different ways accessible to general public, you know, so that those loops and samples can be infused, you know, by music producers of all types and genres into their contemporary creativity, you know, whether it's an electronic music DJ, whether it's somebody who is, you know, creating a hip hop beat, you know, somewhere in Eastlands or whatever is going on, you know. We'd really like for this digital archive eventually, you know, to be, if not entirely on open access, at least to have ease of access.
At the same time, it will encourage young Kenyans to utilize the traditional musical elements in their contemporary creations.
Unique in the way it approaches music, yeah. It is unique also in the way it involves the visitor in the museum experience. So it's not something studied that you just come there and look at and then you leave, you know, like you become a part of the installation. You're the creator, you're the one who plays with it, you know. So I think that's something that is very important to note. Also, the way it's built is that you don't have to have any previous knowledge in music for you to use it.
The Sample Bar Kenya exhibit will be the first of its kind on the African continent, safeguarding the authentic melodies of a wide variety of Kenyan traditional music through digital music recording.
Hello, you're watching Initiative Africa. My name is Asha Sampit. Welcome to your weekly magazine featuring Africa on the move through smart innovations and initiatives that work. This week we focus on education with a promising new digital platform. And with our guest, we explore the question related to the future of journalism in Africa. Well, it's time for Initiative Africa. Let's get on with the show with our top stories today.